Hello everyone, welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. There is loads to get through on this Friday afternoon. I've been on the golf course all day underneath the Newcastle jacket. There's the outfit. Brilliant round of golf. Constant notifications on the phone about Eddie Howe's press conference, the reaction to that, which we're going to talk about in this video, as well as look towards Wolves on Sunday. Finally, we have some Premier League action back, but I've just been listening to bits and pieces on the car journey home from the golf course, seeing what people are saying on social media, and as always, quite a few people melting down, or in some cases kind of going against that, because you know, it's the Daily Mail, it's Craig Hope again, that's getting a lot of attention because the way he's portraying things. Now, you got fans saying, wow, there is something wrong here. There is something to be worried about, and other fans are saying that they're dramatising it and all that sort of stuff. But we'll tell you what we'll do. We'll read exactly what Eddie Howe said in response to Paul Mitchell's interview that he did last week. And obviously, he did mainly come out with the fact of saying it's not really going to be helpful for us if I comment on loads of individual questions about Mitchell and about that interview. But he did hit back at the fit for purpose quote from Mitchell on Newcastle's transfer strategy and stuck up for his signings. Eddie Howe sticking up for his signings that he has made since joining Newcastle United, because obviously he, as he said in this press conference this morning, has always had the final say on transfers. On who Newcastle sign, that's always been signed off by Howe himself. Whereas now, the power struggle is very real. I will say that. I've said it on other podcasts and stuff. The power struggle is there. It is evident. And it is worrying. It is concerning, to be honest with you, because it's clearly shifting. We knew Eddie Howe back in June, July of the pre-season, you know, Adidas headquarters in Germany. He was saying about boundaries. Everyone needs to understand things with the new appointments of Bunce and Mitchell. And that's changed. You know, it's changed now who gets final say on what, why we're signing players, how we're signing players. It's all changed, and that's what's worrying me, because they need to work together. Otherwise, this is going to end in tears. Someone's going to leave. Either Howe will leave or Mitchell will leave. Because at the minute, it looks like the pair of them are at loggerheads. And the main thing that's come out of this as well is that they haven't even spoke to each other since the transfer window closed. And since that failed summer transfer window where we didn't get any marquee signings in, any signings that strengthened the starting 11, they haven't even spoke to each other since then. You think they would have had a debrief, at least, you know. You think after the window was shut, start of September, they would have sat down and went, right, well, that went wrong there, that didn't work, what can we do in January and next summer to make sure that doesn't happen again? How do we kind of draw a line into this? How do we move forward? Whereas now, they haven't even had a phone call. Never mind speaking to each other in person. I mean, these must pretty much pass each other in the corridor at the training ground, but they're not even having any chat. So that's what's worrying me, is that it looks like a serious relationship issue there, a serious communication issue, a serious problem where they both aren't working together and can't see eye to eye. And that's very worrying going forward, to be honest with you. But in the press conference, let's put the specs on and see exactly what was said. You know, Howe hitting back at Mitchell's claims about Newcastle's transfer strategy. Howe said, in reply to Mitchell saying that it's not fit for purpose, Newcastle United's transfer strategy, Howe has said that we can hold our heads up very high. This was obviously since the first press conference, since Mitchell's interview. It's been 9 days since the window closed, and there's been no discussions, no conversations since then, and nothing about January either. Nothing going forward, which, again, doesn't look too clever. But Howe did respond to claims made by the new sporting director about the club overpaying for players and the remark about their approach not being fit for purpose. Howe gave a big defence of that. I think a few things on that began how I'm very, very proud of every single player that we signed in that period. It's very easy to look back on any transfer window and make a judgment on the players you signed 3 years down the line. But he's on about, just paraphrase, he goes on about, you know, the situation at the time. We were in a relegation battle. It was critical that we signed players and recruited players to get us out of that trouble. And he said it wasn't an easy thing to do. I love all these players that I've signed to bits. So I think it's about when you're in the moment and the decisions that you made, everyone can hold their heads up high. Those signings obviously played a huge part in the ownership, and I took part of that ownership and said that even if they're good or bad, I will take ownership of that, because ultimately I was the final decision maker on those signings. So again, it's not, he doesn't like how he's not the final decision maker now. I think they've been brilliant signings from where we were and the long-term future of the club. I truly believe in them and still do. This is the part that Eddie Howe wouldn't be drawn on, so he was asked what did Mitchell mean when he said there was no clear transfer strategy at the club. I think that's for Paul to answer, said Howe. I don't think I can answer for him. The scouting structure was there, and whatever you think about the structures, I thought the results were very good. And I said this back on the stream the other week. Now, Mitchell's saying it's not fit for purpose. He's right in the sense of it wasn't fit that we had to sell Minter and Anderson at the end of June in that PSR deadline, but he's also not right because I think it was quite purposeful getting in the likes of Botman and Bruno for 35 million each. You know, bargains, great players like Isaac and Gordon signed. So I agree with Eddie there, saying the results were very good because they have been very good. Post-takeover signings, really. I always said, it's not right for me to comment on Paul's press conference. I don't think it'll help our current situation, and it's best for me to focus on the future. And he goes on to confirm that he hasn't spoken to Paul. I'm focused on the football, he said, and the team, and he's focused on his role. That's just really sugarcoating and skipping over the past of not speaking to each other. It's very basic. I'm sure, it didn't stop him and Amanda, Maydad, Ashworth speaking to each other, did it? So there's a bit of a brush over there and a bit of a remark that, again, it looks like, I don't know, this is not something right, but he doesn't want to talk about it. And he's coming out with little excuses out where it's clear as day, like, how you would have little conversations here and there at the least. So it is alarming to me that I don't like it. Again, I'm continuing not to like this bloody soap opera between Mitchell and Howe and the power. Ooh, what a nightmare. Sorry for the audio now, because the mic's died. So we missed another 10 minutes of the video. Class crack. So we'll just round this up on the Friday afternoon, people. I'm sure you've got things to do, and so have I. So the audio won't be as crisp and as clear on this one, but the battery died. Terrible crack. But what we're talking about anyways, after the Howe stuff, we'll leave it at that. Let us know what you think in the comments with Howe and Mitchell. We'll focus on the Wolves game now. Good news, first of all, from the press conferences, then we'll get into the bad news for the injury news. Willock's back in training, Kraft's back in training. Tonali got bigged up, so did Lewis Hall from their international duty from Eddie Howe, obviously the games that they played. Howe said it was great to be working with Kieran Trippier on a daily basis now that he retired from international football. And the bad news, let's finish with it, is the absolute crock. That is Callum Wilson. He is behind schedule. They thought he would be back for the Wolves game, but he is still a few weeks away. What a waste of space, man. And I love Callum Wilson. I've stuck up for him for years on this channel, but I'm done with it now. I'm bored of it now. Callum, yeah, this is why we should have sold him, but how can you sell him? How can you get decent money for someone who they know he's going to be injured? Honestly, man, Callum Wilson, I said I really like him. Met the bloke, sound, great footballer, great finisher. Fantastic striker, but he's fantastic at getting injured as well. He's made a bloody poppadoms. You cannot rely on him. Because after this, when he finally comes back in a few weeks, he'll be class. He always is. Give him a chance, he'll score. Mint. Problem is, he'll just come back, score a brace, come back, score a goal. 4 games, be out for 4 weeks. Come back, score 2 goals, be out for 2 weeks. It's the same thing over and over again, and it's just infuriating. Good job with signing Sula, but you're really banking on an under-21 Danish international to fulfill Isaac's boots if he got injured. That's a shambles. That's poor. But Wilson again, behind on injury. Honestly, my days. I'm not going to waste any more time talking about him. Let's talk about Wolves. Sunday, it's always a draw. We always draw at Molineux. 1-1 every time. We haven't won there in over 10 years in the Premier League. We've won there in the Championship, but listen, Wolves are poor. Wolves are in the mud. Chelsea put 6 past Wolves. Medawaki is getting hat-tricks against them, so I'm expecting the same from Murphy. The front 3 shouldn't include Murphy. It should be Barnes, Gordon and Isaac, I hope. Does Tonali come back into it? He should, but you know for a fact how we'll pick Longstaff. And there is a bit of sense in that. I suppose that Tonali's played 2 games for Italy. Longstaff's had every day working there at the training ground, getting fresher, fitter. And it is only Wolves. And listen, I think Wolves are poor, and I think they're going to be in trouble this year. Haven't really replaced Pedro Neto. Where should we go then? And beating the curse of the Molineux draws. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Newcastle United win. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll be going live at full time for a reaction of the Wolves game on Sunday, so stay tuned for that. Drop your comments about everything, people. The Howe Mitchell situation, the press conference, everything. Let us know what you think. And have a great weekend. See you soon. Subscribe to the channel and enjoy yourselves.